Hello, everyone. Welcome to our channel. Welcome to the first live we are having. And we would like to know where you're watching us from. So just put it in the comments. Let's know where you're watching from. And for those that will catch the replay, let us know also where you're watching from. Welcome.
Put it in the chat. Come on, guys. Come on. Put it in the chat. Let's know where you're from. Let's see you.
Hello, can you hear us? As we said, this is our first live.
If you can hear, just type a yes or a Y on the chat. You can hear us, just type a Y or a yes on the chat. Doesn't mean no one is hearing. Not seeing anything on the chat yet. We want to know we're engaging.
Are you seeing us?
So that we don't just talk and assume that you are there when you are not.
Are you seeing us? Are you hearing us?
That's interesting.
Hello. Can someone please let us know if you're hearing us and seeing us also?
That's interesting.
Let's know in the chat. Okay, yes. All right, I see you. Yes, all right, so that's good. Okay, thank you so much for being with us today. As we said, this is our first live that we are doing, and we are happy to have you here. So if it's the first time you're with us on this channel, my name is Christine, and as usual, I'm with my beloved
Wachuku, Vidal Wachuku.
You're very welcome here to Cash Talk for Immigrants, where we share our real stories to assist African immigrants break through financial barriers and thrive in the US.
Okay. And so it's a pleasure to really welcome you here today. Now, we just want to let everybody know, why are we doing today's live? Why are we doing this live? It is basically to answer your questions, the questions that people asked based off of our two videos that told our story. There was a lot of engagement in those two videos, about 800 or thereabout between the two videos or more. And so we felt it necessary to answer some of those pertinent questions in person. So all we've done is that we can't answer possibly all the questions. So we've just selected a few that we are going to answer. And then if you have any questions, we would also encourage you to throw in your questions.
Yes. So we have some of the questions written down. We've jotted down our thoughts to answer you. And as we said, when we posted the video, our aim was to tell our story in terms of letting our audience know why we started Cash Talk for Immigrants. That was just the reason, nothing more. So, but we were kind of surprised and shocked at the kind of response that we got from the two videos. Some of the questions or reactions were more of curiosity. And
before you go to the questions, let me just give a few rules of engagement here tonight. We want to keep this as respectful as possible. Your chats, please, you jot down your questions or your thoughts, but let's keep it respectful as possible. We will do our own best to answer your questions. And if we have answered a question, there might be no need to ask the same question again, or if we have given an answer, because this will be replayed. So you can always listen to it later on, so that we'll be able to have a good interaction and make it flow. So just those few rules of engagement.
Yes.
You're welcome again.
So as we said, the responses we got, some were curious, some challenging, and some emotional. But we could have just said, okay, we've put the video out there, we've achieved our purpose, which is we wanted you to all know why we started our channel, and we move on. But we felt it was fair for us to address some of the questions that were raised, and it might help one or two people out there who may really want to know. And that is why we decided to have this live session and address the questions. So,
go ahead with the first question.
Okay. So the first question that we're going to, I will try to put it on the screen here so that you can follow along. So the first question we have is, what agreement did you have with the church? Was it written?
Now, remember that these questions are questions asked by viewers, those who viewed the videos. So we are just trying to give some responses to the questions. We tried to respond to as many as we could, but we may have missed some. So that's why we are doing this. So to that question, what agreement did you have with the church? Okay, was it written? First and foremost, this was a church we were part of. We had been part of this church for a while. In fact, I had been ordained into the ministry several years before. So alongside our legal practice in Nigeria, I was also a part-time minister. Okay, so this is not just like a random group that came out of, it's a group we had been part of from the Nigerian angle. Okay, and let me just give a little background because it's important to answer this question effectively. It was just on a visit to the US that we were asked to come serve here. We just came to visit the church headquarters. Okay, she might expatiate on it later on, but I just wanted to drop that in. And so for you to see that we had a relationship, it wasn't just something that happened out of the blues. So we did not have any written agreement. All the promises were verbal that were made to us, okay, before we left. So it answers that question. We didn't have a written agreement, and the reason was simple. It was a question of trusting the leadership that we were working with. And there's a major reason which I will address later as we go down, because people ask the question, but just keep that in view. There's a major reason why we actually moved without going through the nitty-gritty details of what we should have done.
Yes.
Okay. So the next question is, as lawyers, how could you fall for that? How could you leave Nigeria and start coming to the US without any written agreement, considering that both of us are lawyers?
So actually, we know that when you say faith and belief, right? You say faith is the things that you don't see and all that. So when it comes to faith, you're not really looking at physical things. And as we said, as lawyers, we don't want to bring our law profession or thinking into spiritual matters. And we had been with this church for a while. So why would we feel that they are deceiving or they are not being truthful with what they said? And we did not ask to be moved to the US. So they said they wanted us to come to the US and help pastor the churches here. So we believed, because what would they have to gain by deceiving us and all that? So we believed them and we moved. So that is why we did not bring our critical law thinking into it. We have been with the church for a while and we believed them. So
I think at this point, it's really important for you to fully understand it, for me to say why we believe them. Let me say it now. And but please, before I do so, let us know where you are coming from. We have quite a number of people on. Please type in the chat where you are watching us from. We want to know where you are coming from. So please do us that honor by putting down in the chat where you are coming from. We want to see you guys, and then show us some likes. Show us some likes. Let us know that we are interacting with people and we are not just talking to ourselves. Okay? Can we do that? Let me see something. That will encourage me. It will encourage us to talk, knowing that we are interfacing with people and not with robots. So can we see some likes? Can we see some where you have coming watching us from? Let us see. Can you type which? Are you in the US? Are you in Nigeria? Are you in Canada? Are you in the UK? You don't need to type your state, the state. Just type the country you are watching us from. Let us know. Can we do that? Okay. As we are doing that, let me quickly. Oh, thank you, Chidozie from Canada. You're welcome. You're welcome, Chidozie. Good to have you on board. Good to have you on board. Okay, so waiting for others to join us. Hello.
Oh, this side of life.
Oh, that's good. Our sister, how are you?
Thank you so much for joining.
You're most welcome. Thank you for coming all the way from Canada too. Okay, so while others are telling us where they are coming from, okay, USA, Live in Light.
Yeah.
Okay, Live in Light. Do we have a name? Okay, so let me just give a quick background because it will help most of the questions, in fact, why we accepted to come without doing our due diligence, which we accepted that we didn't do our due diligence. And this is the reason. Thank you very much, our sister. So when we just came on a visit to the US, to the church headquarters.
They invited
us on a visit to the headquarters. And that's what we came for. So it was during that visit, way back in 2009 or thereabout, that the pastor general out of the blues pulled me aside and said, you know what? Hey, Vidal, how long have you, he used to call me Vidal. So he said, Vidal, how long have you been practicing law? At that point in time, it was 25 years. And how long had I been ordained? 13 years, because he wasn't the one who ordained me. So he asked that question. I said, 13 years. And I had been doing ministry part-time alongside my legal practice at no cost. Yeah. It was just a part-time service I was rendering to the brethren. Okay, welcome, Helen. Helen from the US. You're welcome. You're welcome. So that was how he now said he wanted us to come to, if I was willing, since I had been, we had been in practice, I've been in practice for 25 years. Say, are you willing now to serve the eternal God for the rest of your life? Okay. And I was like, oh, if God would want me to do that, I would be happy to do whatever he wanted me to do. Right.
And we remember we already had that from our courtship days. We already felt God was calling us to go into the ministry, into the mission field, even though we felt it was Africa as at then before we got married. So it was not like a surprising thing when he now said, oh, to come over and help.
No, at that point, he had not even said to come over to the US. I didn't even know it was the US.
He just said to come full-time.
So he said if I was willing to get into full-time ministry. And I said, by all means, I was willing to do it.
Because we already had that at the
because I was already doing part-time ministry. And we had already wanted to be in ministry. We knew we had that call to do it. And so, but honestly, at that point in time, I thought it was Nigeria when he was asking those questions. Full-time in Nigeria. I said, okay. Then he dropped the bombshell. He said, actually, I'm not thinking of Nigeria. I'm thinking of bringing you guys here to the US. And I was like, to the US? At this point in time, I was about 49. She was 44, thereabout. And then I was like, to the US at this point, I was like, he said, no, you don't have to give me an answer. Go talk with your wife, because he talked with me alone. Go talk with your wife and then give me an answer within the week. Okay. So, but he said, because I have family in New York, and he said, think about it. I would want to bring you and send you to New York so that you can be close to your family and you'll be able to also serve God full time. So I told my wife about it, but immediately he said New York. Inside of me, I just said foul. It wasn't going to work because I don't like the cold at all. And I knew that nothing was going to make me go and live in the cold, right? In the cold region. So quickly, I told my wife, and she was almost saying the same thing, that, oh, New York, this one, it won't work. Oh. So,
at our age.
exactly. And then our age and all that, to go and start enduring that cold, I said I wasn't going to do it. Anyways, to cut a long story short.
Yeah, so that's the foundation,
yes,
to answer the other, because just remember this, it will come in handy for you to understand the explanations we're going to give later on.
No, let me just finish a little bit more of this so that it will flow easily. Okay. So the question is that they wanted to bring us here and send us to New York. Okay. And I said, when we went back to Nigeria, I told God that I did not want to go to any New York. He knew. I said, God, you know it. I'm not putting this up. I can't tolerate the cold. I can't do it. So I'm not making it up. And that was when we prayed, because somebody asked a question, did you pray and fast? I'm answering that question at the same time, because I prayed and fasted about it. And you know what happened? I picked up the map of the US in Nigeria, back in Nigeria. I just looked at it. As I was looking at the map, my eyes fell on a state that is a sunny state that has the mantra, the Sunshine State. So immediately my eyes fell on that. I said, that is where we are going. And so we prayed and fasted, and we asked God that if he was behind this move. Now I want you to get this clearly, because it sets the stage for most of the answers. If he was behind this move, he should make them at the headquarters, right? Change our posting without us talking to anybody. So it was just her, me, and God that knew that prayer. Nobody else. Nobody else. 3 weeks after, I get a call. 2 to 3 weeks after, I get a call. And they now told me they were going to post, they had changed their minds. We didn't talk to anybody. And that they had changed their minds, and they were now going to post us to that state, the specific state I mentioned. And when I prayed that prayer, my prayer was that if God made them change it to that state, I would know it was him, like the fleece that Gideon put out, to say, that would tell me that it was God, and I will move without any questions asked. Yeah. So you now get the genesis of why we didn't go into any nitty-gritty details. So I just wanted you to get that foundation, okay? So that's why one of the major reasons why we didn't do any due diligence, because when they now called me and said they were going to send us to the same state I asked, it was a shocker. In fact, initially, I couldn't even respond on the phone because I was so shocked by the answer that I was like, is that a joke? I was like, so the guy on the other end was like, are you okay with it? You know, I said, yes. I told you guys I would only go where God wanted me to go. That's what I actually told them. So that gives you a good picture of how this whole thing started. We weren't one of those who weren't looking to Japa. We weren't looking to come to America. We had a fairly comfortable life. We were not millionaires, but we had a fairly comfortable life, lived in our own property, was doing our own business, was into law. We were also into estate. So we had quite a lot of things going for us. We didn't look to come here. So that was how this whole thing originated. Okay. So I think that would have answered quite a number of the questions.
Yes, you've already answered the why did you pray and all that. So we're going to go to the next question, which will be question 3. So if you were to advise other immigrants working in the ministry, what would you tell?
Okay. So if I was to advise anybody, based off of our experience, even though we prayed and got a clear direction from God that made us to respond to it, because you are dealing with human beings. Now, just understand it clearly. We didn't think about that. We felt God had answered the prayer. God had done his own bit. It was us now to follow up, to now ask for all the things. But because it was so direct, we answered. So for the young person, I would say, anybody who wants to come into ministry, my advice would be in this situation would be make sure you put everything down in writing. You get everything written down. Blind trust is not equivalent to faith. Yes, don't, as it is said, trust, but verify. Yeah, because the influential minister and everything who tells you all these things, to be absolutely sure that you don't fall into this kind of situation, make sure everything is properly documented. You have a contract, you have your salary or emoluments or compensation clearly written out, retirement, financials, and all that. Because there were a lot of things that were left hanging that we were not told about until we got here.
Yes. So let's go to the next question. You read.
Okay. Okay. Now, so the next question is for you. Doesn't the so-called church have a name? By using the word church in this story, you are rubbishing the body of Christ, the church. The so-called church you are referring to may be a cult and not a church in the first place. Please call a spade a spade. That is the comment made by somebody. And we are going to answer this in detail because so many people asked this question. We had to even pin a response into our part 1 of the video. So we're going to answer this in a little bit detail.
Yes.
And she may have to look at her papers to let you,
yes,
because we jotted down the points,
yes,
why we decided we weren't going to mention the name of the church.
Yes. So Ada, you're welcome. And yes, man is not to be trusted. You're
Absolutely,
quite correct.
You're correct, Ada. You're welcome.
Yeah, you're correct. So why are we not calling the name of the church? The reason why we are not calling the name of the church is you have to understand, why did we post the video in the first instance? And as I said from the beginning, we made this video because it's part of our journey. And we started a YouTube channel, which we're trying to talk to African immigrants to show them the path of how to adapt financially and, create a security for themselves, which is arising from our story. It's based on what happened to us that we learned our lesson. And we're saying there may be other immigrants like that here, that you just come here and you don't have anything and you would be let out in the cold just like that. So we said, if people come across our channel, they may want to know why we are doing this. And as you can see, it's not as if we are young. So those questions may come on, like, why are these people doing this? Why did they why did they create this channel? So that was why we did the video. It was not about the church. It was not to come and report the church or, get sympathy or people to pity us or something like that. No. So that is why we felt calling the name of the church was neither here nor there. We just wanted to tell our why. Why did we create the channel? So we felt the name of the church wasn't important. It wasn't necessary. And your comments proved we were right. Because the comments that started coming, people started calling churches. And we were like surprised, like, okay, that just shows we are on the right path, because it's not just a church. Other churches seem to have the same issue. So why call a church? If you call a church, the whole attention will now go to the church. And people will start dragging the church. They start calling other things and abusing churches and all. Like, that's not why we made the video, and we didn't want that. So we wanted the message to stay, people to stay focused on the message. And that is, if you're coming here and this has happened to you, you need to have a financial, you have a plan for your financial security if you're here in America and wait for you to try. And we knew there would be other people like us. And that is why we were reaching out to them to just say, there's still hope. You can still do this, because this is what we did, to move forward. And we can also help for you to move forward too. So that was another reason. And then when we look at the fact that we still have family in this same church that we're talking about, our family is still there, very close family members. And some of them don't even agree that with us. They even felt he was wrong to have left, because to them, they feel the church is doing the right thing, and we were wrong to have for him to have
questioned some of the things that they were doing that were clearly against scripture, that were unscriptural.
So they still feel that way. So even seeing this video, we even upset them the more. It's like, oh, why are you people doing this? Because it's you people that are wrong. If your husband followed exactly what the church wanted him to do, he may not have been fired. You get? So we are not on the same page, and we don't want to, it's not about the church. So that is why we are not focusing on it, because we have family there, and it's to show them it's not about the church. It's about our story. It's about moving on with our life and helping other people.
Can I just add a little something there about the family dynamics? Yes. Because when you look at the fact that we have the family there, we are concerned about the family. And we know that by the time we start naming church, the name of the church and all that, even they will be embarrassed. They know what we are talking about. But now it's like we have declared war on them. And it will affect even them, their ability to feel free or to even think deeply on this issue, the main issue, which is this system that we have come to discover is prevalent in all the churches. It's not just that one church. So we want the family to be able to look at it dispassionately and be able to arrive at their own decision, because we want them to also leave that place. That is the truth. So that's another reason why we are hesitant, or from the beginning, we made up our minds that we weren't going to mention the church. And remember that even though this is serving as a warning, that wasn't really the original intent in doing the video, as she explained. But we now discovered that, okay, this video is also going to help, because it's exposing a consistent pattern across so many churches, not just that one church. And by the time you begin to mention the name of the church, the focus will be on that one church and will no longer be on the system, something that is prevalent.
Yes, and then somebody has left a comment there, Geronimo. He said, I'm sorry if I'm massacring your name. It's important to name the church for the benefit of others and the repentance of the church from the practice. Sorry, I want to tell you that the church are not going to repent from the practice. It's a system. It's a system that is there. And it is not what we say that is going to benefit others for them to live. We've told you, our family members are there. They don't see anything wrong with it. It's only the Holy Spirit that can open people's eyes to see what is wrong. Human beings, we don't have that power. We cannot do. The best we can do is what we are doing. We tell our stories. Anybody that wants to learn from it, which is what we have said. If you hear our story and you question where you are, to ask yourself, these things that they are saying, is it applicable where I am? You know, what do I need to do? Because it's showing me the same signs that this couple are talking about. That is what we want to achieve. But as for taking anybody out, no. I'm telling you that this same church we left, we hear stories of what is going on there, how people are being robbed day in, day out, as we said, selling property, even widows, taking everything from them and all that. But some of them are there. And we even heard, was it yesterday, we were reading of someone that said her friend is still there, and the friend said she will die there. Now, what do you say to that? So we are not the Holy Spirit. No matter what you say, people are not going to get out. And as we said in the comments of our videos, you will see many churches were named in that place. And the churches that are named, don't they still have people there?
Exactly.
They have thousands of members that are still there, because no matter what you say, the members that are there that believe that will even attack you, that you're trying to help. When he was still in the ministry, he tried to help people by telling them some things like, as he said, sell everything and give the money to the church, right? And he tried to help people to counsel them to see the reason why they should not take all their money and give to the church. You will not believe it. Some of them reported to
me.
headquarters.
Yep. Some of them reported me that I was trying to prevent them from obeying what the church had instructed them to do. So I don't know whether the is a male or female, but my brother or my sister, whichever one you are, one thing we want you to know is that once we name a church, it becomes all about that church. And that is not the intention. This is a prevalent system, as we have come to discover in so many churches. In fact, you don't want us to need to know the number of people that have even called us from other churches that have booked one-on-ones with us, and since our story broke, and they have nothing to do with our church. They are from other churches, different backgrounds, crying, telling their own story. Some are even worse than ours, frankly speaking. So you see, by the time we mention one church, all focus will be on that one church, rather than a prevalent system that is found in churches across board. I'm not saying all churches. Please don't get me wrong. We are not saying it's all churches. No. But a lot of churches, this is a prevalent system, as evidenced by the name calling that a lot of people did on our videos. They were calling the names of different, and they were even backing up what they were saying. That they did this, they did this. So you see, it's a prevalent system. So we want the attention now that it has gotten to this point to be on this systematic evil that is going on, rather than on one specific church. I hope that is helpful.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric. Eric, where are you reaching us from? Where are you reaching us from? Thank you, Mokanda. Is it Mokanda? Mokondo. I was almost going to call you Wakanda. Mokondo. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Thank you for understanding why we don't want to name a church. Okay. Oh, Eric, you're in Delaware. Good to know. Good to know. Good to know.
So the next question is that's for you. How do you balance faith and financial wisdom now?
Okay. Balancing faith and financial wisdom. One thing, like we've already said, is make sure that you have everything in writing, right? Now, where is the place of faith? Financial faith does not mean that you leave everything to God.
Yes.
No. For you to be able to do a balance, you must educate yourself on financial matters. The mere fact that you are a Christian and does not mean that, oh, you shouldn't know what is going on where you are, how the system is working where you are, and how to tap into that system to make a better life for yourself and your family and for your generations on board. Being able to be successful financially is not antithesis to being a Christian, to being a faithful Christian. No, it's not contrary to it. It's not opposite. God wants you to prosper. And for you to be able to do that, you have to take your own destiny into your own hands. Find out the things that you need to find out. Educate yourself. Find out the system that operates where you are. That's part of what we are doing through our channel, because our channel is targeted at African immigrants primarily, to educate you on how you can tap into what lies in plain sight. Everybody says America is a land of opportunity. Yes, it is. It is. But you can be 3 feet from gold and you will not get the gold because you don't know. You either don't have the right implement to dig the gold, or you don't know how to go about it, or you can't even identify it when you see it. Yes. So which is exactly. So that is why we have this financial channel. It's more of a financial channel to assist folks to share our own story with them and the mistakes we made, that they will not make those mistakes, because as a man of faith, you don't just go blindly into doing something and say, oh, because my minister says, or because God said. Even when God says, you want to be sure that it is actually God that is saying and not the devil that is saying. Because remember, the angel of darkness can transform itself into an angel of light. And it will sound like the voice of God. So you want to be absolutely sure. Okay, I hope that was helpful.
So let's go to the next question, which you can read. That's the next question.
Okay, so the next question is, why didn't you just leave the church earlier when you saw they were limiting your financial progress?
Yes. So we didn't leave the church earlier because I like to look at it. I like to look at it this way: that when I was in secondary school, I like using this movie, The Fall of the Roman Empire. So my dad had this movie. He bought The Fall of the Roman Empire, and I remember that when they now went to the Senate to debate, one of the senators got up on the floor of the Roman Senate and said that, does a country fall in one terrible moment? And he said, no, the country does not collapse in one terrible moment. But when the people in the country begin to lose faith in that country, that is the beginning of the fall of that nation. And it's the same thing that applies even with Christians. Whether you're in a church that is manipulating and taking advantage of you, whether you are in a cult, is the same thing. Because remember, the church or the cult, they don't just come at you with fake something. No, they come with the truth of the Bible, right? What you already believe. So you tap into it, you agree because that's basic. That's what you believe. That's what is making sense. Then you go with it. It's when you are now inside, then you begin to see what they are saying. So number one, how I put it, like I tried to think about it and I jotted down some points. You begin to doubt. Like after they will start introducing some things, then you start doubting it, like, this thing they are saying is not sounding. Now remember, you may have stayed there a year, you may have stayed there 3 months, you may have stayed there 2 years before you start hearing those things and you begin to say, and you begin to doubt it, right? Then from doubting, you begin to question, like question those things. You go back to your Bible, you try to say, it's not making sense. Well, no, how can they be saying this? Then you begin to get uncomfortable, discomfort sets in. And as you become uncomfortable, you begin to lose faith in what they are telling you. And if you're not careful, you start going downhill because you now start getting depressed and all those things. So that was the same thing that happened. So before you reach even that stage, it may be 3 years, 4 years, 5 years before, because this thing is like it's a process. It's a journey. And remember, they carried us and brought us into a foreign land. This is US. We didn't know anything. It was the church. It was whatever they had told us and they were telling us that we were doing. So even when you begin to doubt, you begin to look at it. For him, he was committed. Once he put out that fleece and God answered, and answered as, with that same state, he made up his mind that he was going to be committed to God and he will serve faithfully except if the church sack him. So that was his commitment right from Nigeria before we came here. He said, all right, since God has called him, he will serve faithfully and take care of the flock that is placed in his hands. He will never leave.
And protect them.
He will never leave except if the church threw him out. So that was his own. But for me, our children were in the church. It started with the children. They, as young people, of course, they couldn't take it. With time, they left. They left the church. I was feeling uncomfortable. So, as I told you, it's a process. I started feeling uncomfortable. I was questioning things and all that, but I remained. Even when I lost faith, I remained. And as he said, prophecies were coming that were not being fulfilled. Or at this stage, I was not there anymore. I had lost faith in the whole thing. But I remained because I didn't want to live with always done things together. I didn't want to leave him there in the church by himself. And remember, we were brought here, I was supposed to be 50% of his ministry as they told us, right? So I didn't want to leave him behind. So I stayed, but I was gradually going into depression. And he too saw it. And he told me, you know what, darling, I will be okay. If you're no longer called, just go out of the church. Because he didn't want me to break down. So he told me I could leave.
Welcome, JB. Welcome, JB from Atlanta.
Yes. So he said he will remain in the church because he has made that commitment to God that he will take care of the flock that was placed in his care, right? So he said his heart is stayed on it and he will just stay there. So that was why we remained. So you see, we didn't go into all these details because we said that wasn't the focus of our story. We just wanted to say why we started our channel. That's all. So since people are asking, we're like, okay, let's just give a little bit of background to it. So that was why we stayed as long as we did. We should have left faster, but it was a gradual process. I left before him and left him there. And I think I will say, honestly, when the church threw him out, I believe God just saw his heart. And he knew that this man is not going to leave this place. He's long overdue in this place. Since he said he will not leave except the church throw him out, I will make the church throw him out.
And it wasn't going to slow me down from being faithful to the flock that God gave to me to take care of. Because a lot of wrong things were emanating from headquarters. And there was no way I was going to support those things. I wasn't preaching them. That was another thing they held against me. I wasn't teaching for people to send in all their money. In fact, I was trying to make them protect their assets and all that. And so many other things, steps that I took. So I saw my remaining there as until God was ready to say it was time to get out, my son. Then I will make them throw you out. But I saw my remaining there to serve these people, to continue to protect as many of the flock as I could protect from the ravening wolves that were already beginning to, hover around all of them. Mukondo, I see that you have asked a question about 401k in the face of the topsy-turvy tariff policy of Mr.
No.
Now, what we ask you to do is, please go on the Calendly and book. Follow the link and book a free 30 minutes consultation with us. Free. Then we can discuss your financial part. Today, we want to just focus on discussing, answering these questions, or in a subsequent live, we will address some of those issues, those financial issues. But it might serve you better to book so that we can talk one-on-one, okay?
All right. So let's go to the next question. You've already answered question 7, which is, did you pray and fast?
Yes.
We already explained that. So you can just take the next question, which is the person stated that he's just trying to make YouTube videos since that is his job for now. He should tell us how he got the opportunity to come to America, which you have answered.
I've already answered
the
that.
politicking in these churches is beyond ridiculous, and he knows that. They are just saying these things for clicks. That's what he's saying.
So again, let's reiterate. This has nothing to do with clicks. That wasn't the reason. I think I jotted some points down there that I would want to follow. Where is the question again?
That's the question.
Yeah. Where is it?
That's the question here.
Okay. So, yes, I said this video is not about clicks. It's about clarity. We wanted to state our story. Simple. We didn't know it was going to take a life of its own, honestly speaking. We just wanted to say our story, why we started our YouTube channel, which is principally targeted at helping African immigrants in the US and in the diaspora to know how to tap into the system and benefit from it, from the system where they are, and not make some of the mistakes we made. We've been here for 14 years or thereabout. When we look back now, there are so many mistakes we made that if somebody had just told us one or two of them, even with what happened today, we wouldn't be where we are. Our life would have taken a different tangent altogether. So part of what we do, we have over how many videos on our channel right now? We have about 60-something videos on that channel that tell you in some detail different mistakes and different steps to take. But if you want further consultation, please book a one-on-one and we will be happy to go into some of those things to discuss with you. So it wasn't for clicks at all. It has nothing to do with that. Absolutely nothing. Please be rest assured. And this is not what I'm doing full time. I am a licensed financial professional. And I am also doing ministry on the side. So I am a licensed, fully licensed financial professional, licensed to practice in several states in this country. So this is not what we are, this is something we are doing to educate, to help our people, not because we are looking for anything out of it. Right? But if they come, we won't reject it. But that's not the goal.
All right.
Yeah,
so
the
next question.
Okay,
yes,
put it.
Let me put it up.
Okay. So if you have any questions, please begin to save them, but note the ones you have answered so that you don't repeat them again. We'll soon be coming to the end of the ones we selected so that you will have an opportunity to ask your own question. We have quite a number of people on this chat, over 43 people right now. So please let us know where you are coming from. Just give us some likes. Let's know that we are interacting with you. You are a number here. So give us some like, give us some fires, give us some likes. Let's know that we're interacting with people, okay? And let us know where you are listening in from. Yeah, I know JB is from Atlanta, Georgia. JB, welcome. Okay. So, what's the question?
9.
Now, you are not naming the... No. Okay, number 9. Okay, now let me read. This is a long comment, a fairly long comment, but for proper context, let me read it quickly. At least someone has identified that they know you in the comments and the church that must have sent you. And if anyone cares to do their research also, they will find out who you are and which church organization sent you. There are so many others that have called out the said church and they have not been sued or anything of the sort. My conclusion is this: 1, you are withholding the name of the organization. You see, we go back to the name of the organization because of clout. You want your video to trend. Is that so? And generate so much engagement for more money and algorithmic promotion. Number 2, you also have things the church organization can hold against you or over your heads that may or might be incriminating for you. I can assure you absolutely nothing. Anyway, you got what you are looking for. You are still one of them hiding names instead of calling things as they are. You truly haven't come out. If you had your way, you will go back into the system that robbed you as you have claimed. Never, never. That will not happen. We will never go back there. So go ahead and answer the rest.
Well, you've answered most of them, which I feel it's really, maybe you should even answer it. Okay. But I want to welcome Emma. Well, yeah, thank you so much. Yes, it does take a lot of courage to share our story. It has not been easy, and it took a lot for us to come to this stage when we wanted to share it, because we know with the reaction we got, we know it is what makes people not to want to share their story to help others because of the shaming. And, you know, it's something like you're already even blaming yourself. You're already seeing the mistakes you make. Then when you tell your story and people rub salt into the injury, it makes it worse, which is what makes people not to want to share anything. They just keep quiet, suffer in silence, and just let it be. So, yes. Thank you so much for acknowledging that, Ima.
So let me reiterate again that why we are not naming. I've given reasons before, so I won't go back to those ones. But remember, we have said one thing that I want you to know is that this message is bigger than the name of one single church. It's bigger than the name of a single church because so many churches are doing it. I will leave that at that. And then we are also committed to healing and helping others. That is our commission. We want to help others. We know other people. As a result of this video going out, we've come to know so many other people are going through the same thing. We know people in the same organization, church that we belong to, that even suffered worse things than us. Yes. Worse. You don't even want to hear.
They are not telling
but
their
they are not
story.
telling their story because of reactions like this.
Yeah.
They will not come out to tell their story. So we grab the bulls by the horn in telling our story because we want other people to learn from our mistake and not make the same mistakes that we made. This church has brought a lot of people to this country from outside this country, and they've dealt with them very badly. Some are still there that they brought, are still there.
And we
in
believe
the same
they
organization.
may be stuck because it's like, what are they going to?
Exactly.
Anyway? Yeah.
You know, so that answers that. And then we have made peace with our own past. So there is nothing we are hiding. There is nothing we are afraid of, because we know we are standing on solid ground in the things that we are saying because it's the truth. We are not embellishing anything. We just told our simple story.
Yes. Geronimo also wrote another comment and said he understands and appreciates us not naming it, but however, the world is a small village and information are easily sourced. Yeah, you can source your information. This is an information age. You can get whatever information you want on the social media, internet, wherever. Yeah, it's possible, but we are saying that's not the focus of our story. So we don't want to say it. You can go look for your own information and get whatever you want, but
it's a free world.
Yeah, it's a free world. We don't see any need for us because it's not going to change anything anyway. So
it's actually going to take the conversation away from the subject and begin to focus on one individual.
Yes.
You hear the name of the pastor and say, oh, that man, whereas there are so many like him there.
Live in Light has said it. The issue is bigger than one church. It is prominent in most Nigerian Pentecostal churches. You see?
So it's there.
Yeah.
These are things that are there. So we want to make the subject the discussion of the bigger subject, not just one organization. Okay, so next question for you.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay, what's your question?
Oh, sorry, I'm coming. It's like okay. I have to bring in the question. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
You can read it.
I can read it.
Yes,
from here.
You can read it. Let me see if I
secular corporate organizations. This person is just saying that where he worked for several years pays him 130% of his annual basic salary as of 2002. And as of now, after 7 years, working there for 7 years, they pay him 165% of his annual basic salary. Then he said, you worked for 12 years. You were sacked without benefits.
What's the question?
So
question 10?
Yes. So after working for 10 years, you were sacked without benefits. So I think this is more like understanding what has happened. Okay, so go ahead. You can take that.
Yes. So, of course, you see that it's painful, which is what we were saying. When people say, oh, they brought you and you're now complaining, blah, 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 and all that, or the fact that they let us go and we are now talking and sharing our story and we should be grateful. No. It is comments like this that show if a secular work could say he worked 7 years with them and see he had a retirement pension that was available for him, they were grateful for his service. And we are saying, we didn't ask to come here. The church brought us here, yet they did not give us any plan for if we're no longer here or we cannot work or something. And the annoying part of it is that there's actually a retirement plan we could have taken by ourselves.
That's the worst.
That is not even provided by the church. But they did not tell us.
And they
we didn't know.
Yes. Yeah, because listen, let's make it clear. Why didn't we know? Because they made it clear to us. They said you are going to be working for till you die.
Yeah. So
you will be on salary. So you don't need any of
retirement
that.
plan.
You will be working, and we know that has happened in the church.
Yes.
We know of pastors that have worked like that.
Yes.
So it's not that it's a unique thing to us.
So
when
we,
they made it. So we believed it that was what was
it's not about the money.
So we didn't go around pursuing other things. They told me I wasn't going to work at all, do any other work. I obeyed them. I could have done anything else.
Other work.
I'm a Nigerian. I know how to hustle. I could have done something else, but I didn't do any of those things. I obeyed them, and they made you go to nursing school, and then you did and had a career. So we could have done so many things if they had made it clear that, hey, somewhere along the line, things may change. So begin to take care of yourself. That's all we are saying. That they gave us different impression and they did something totally different that left us unprepared. We could have prepared. We could have been able to take care of ourselves without looking at them.
All right. So that answers
TL is saying, which church do you?
Yeah, he may have come in late.
Probably you joined late. Yes.
Yeah, we've already answered that.
Yeah, look at the replay. It will give you the answer to that.
Yes. So let me put the next question. Yes. So the next question that will be for you.
Okay.
The lessons. I think this person was kind of sorry, let me remove this. The person was reiterating and saying what they learned. The lessons: trust but verify. Engage both your heart and mind when dealing with church leaders. Look out for red flags, especially signs of a cult, and run. Examine the fruits, the character, the message, the modus operandi, lifestyle, etc. of the leader you are following to ensure it aligns with scripture. Frankly, you stayed too long, but it's better late than never. Wishing you both the best in your new ministry and mission.
Thank you very much. The observations are very noteworthy, and we really appreciate that you took time to understand what was going on here, or what is going on here. And you're absolutely right. Blind faith should never command blind allegiance. Faith should never command blind allegiance. Yes. Truly, trust. You see, once you are dealing with man, that's the point we made earlier on. Once you are dealing with the arm of flesh, no matter the cloak that the person is wearing, no matter the garb that the person is wearing, okay, he's still a human being underneath that cloak. He's still a human being underneath that suit and tie or whatever it is, the bishop's apparel and all those things they put on their bodies. He's still flesh and blood that is under there. Okay? And so if we know that you are going to be making decisions that will affect your life and affect the lives of your children, it is absolutely important that you make sure that you do the needful. You do the needful, because man will fail you. When push comes to shove, that is our experience. Because when this happened, there was no way we would have thought, number one, that the church will start derailing and start teaching some wacky things. That wasn't, those things were not there before we came here. Yes. It was a few years ago that they started teaching some of these wacky things that were not there, and they were like, they were not in the Bible. And I remember the very first time we came when we were talking with the leader of the church. I remember picking up my Bible. That was even before we came to work for the church here. I picked up my Bible and I told him, I said, the day you start deviating from this Bible, I will serve God faithfully here. But the day you start deviating from this, I will be one of those that will resist you and speak up for the truth. And that's what I did. And that's what I tried to do with the people that I was working with, to stand for them. And that's why I said I wasn't going to abandon them to the wolves. I was going to be there for them for as long as God wanted me to be there. In his own good time, when he was ready, he would make them to send me packing. Then I have discharged my responsibility to God. My vow that I made to him, that I will be faithful to him while serving and protect the flock. So yes, my brother, that is what it is. But we truly appreciate your comments. And that was why I stayed that long. I wanted to protect God's flock. I didn't want to abandon them. And I don't ever believe in quitting. It's never been my mantra in life, because quitters never win and winners never quit. So I don't just run at the first sign of trouble. And we could have planned our exit. Exactly. We could have executed, so if we wanted to. Some did. Some did. Some ministers in the church. planned their exit, and when once they left, they jumped into something else. Or they were unfaithful, they were doing things behind the back.
Yeah.
But we did not do any of that. But we know that God had a purpose for it.
Exactly.
And today we are fulfilling that purpose. So it wasn't a mistake at the end of the day.
So let me upload the last question, 12. Okay, you want to read it?
Okay. Question 12 says,
Yes.
God bless you for sharing your story. This has and will help younger pastors making future decisions like yours. So,
Exactly. So, and that is the purpose of sharing our story, to help other people, to say this is what happened to us. But even though it happened, we found a way to continue to sustain ourselves and move forward. And we are, using this channel to share the way we have found, to share what has helped us, so that you can also use it to help yourself. And we hope too that by sharing our story, other people in the ministry too that are using this religious visa to be brought to the US or any other country, you will learn from it and know how to have a checklist that you can tick off before you say yes and before you move. So because we made that mistake, we moved, we didn't ask the questions. It was when we got here that they now told us the details.
Yeah, when we started asking questions now.
So they now said, oh, they don't give employment because, of course, we felt when we reach here, they will give us employment letter now and everything. We didn't ask for it from Nigeria. But when we got here, he did ask for it. But that was the explanation they gave to him. Oh, we don't give
to any minister.
Yeah,
and that is a fact. They don't
give.
It wasn't just to me.
Yep.
And so all their ministers, they don't give them employment letters. But when they want to fire you, they will write ugly things about you to fire you. That's that's the human nature we are saying. Why we are saying don't trust human beings.
Yes.
Even me, don't trust me 100% because you never can tell what will happen tomorrow. Because human nature, you want to trust God and God alone. Yes, I tell you something, verify it. Don't just take it just because it came from my mouth. No, because I am flesh and blood still, just like you are. I wouldn't just take yours too because it came from your mouth. Right? Be the Berean Christian. Yes, the Apostle Paul, as big as he was, when he preached, the Berean Christian, what did they do? They went to verify if those things he was saying was as it was written. So they did not just believe him because this was Paul, the big apostle, who had planted so many churches. No. So let's not allow men of God, quote and unquote, or women of God, quote and unquote, to bamboozle us and to dazzle us and to deceive us, because ultimately they are human beings. And they have their own weaknesses like human beings.
An agenda.
Oh, yes. Everybody has his own agenda. That is true. They have their own agenda. We have seen it. They are building their empires. They are building their businesses. And they are using your sweat and my sweat to build them. So let's be wise. Because God wants us to be wise. Even as stewards, he wants us to be wise. He says, be as wise as the serpent, as gentle as the dove. So it's not wrong to be wise, to ask for wisdom and to question, interrogate things. Don't just take things at face value. That it came from your GO, or it came from your bishop, or it came from your pastor general, or from your whatever it is. Don't just take it at face value because they are human beings. And scripture says that at the end of the day, the arm of flesh will fail you. It's only God that never fails.
So we would like to ask if you have any questions that we have not addressed, you can put it in the comments and we can quickly answer before we call it a day. It's nice being here. It's our first live. So at least we have tried and we were able to pull it off because all these technology things, but at least we succeeded. You are able to hear us and see us. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. Okay,
we survived because it is the Western world.
Because those back home, they may find it more challenging.
Exactly. And thankfully, even though they were the one that orchestrated, made her to go back to school, because she had been a lawyer of 27 years, 25 years before we came here. I was 27 as at the time we came here at the bar. And so she had to go back to school at midlife and became a nurse.
Yes. And if I may say something
Yes.
here too, I think God has been with us all along.
He has been, not I think.
Yes.
He has been.
Because look at it. God knew the end
Mhm.
from the beginning.
Mhm.
So when they brought us, of course, we were the simple. We just kept faithfully serving. But when God, he knew what was going to happen in the end. So he made it that they now told us they were going to cut his salary. And I needed to work. So that is what started my search for work that ended with me going to nursing school, as I said in the videos. So you see now, God knew that this was going to happen. So you can imagine if they didn't do that, and I never looked for a job, and then they just sacked him, and we'd have nothing. Nothing.
Probably by now we would have been packing our bag and baggage to go back to Nigeria with nothing to show for it. But it's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful journey of faith. Because even after she be qualified as a nurse, she was such an enterprising lady. She started this financial businesses thing. She started it as a side hustle.
Exactly.
At that time, I was still in full-time ministry. I remember I wasn't allowed to do anything.
Exactly. So I think it's God.
It was God also that made it for her to start it. Because once this happened, I jumped into it, neck deep into it, started training, started learning it, started understanding it. And today we have something that we can say we are able to impart to others, to educate others, and to help others. Also, financially, have this kind of sound advice that we did not have. Exactly. So we would encourage you, if you have any questions, please put it down. But if you don't have, we want to encourage you. We've got lots of videos there, and we made a lot of mistakes, and we have mentioned so many of those mistakes there. We want you to go back, look at them, learn from them. And if you want to book a one-on-one, you want to talk with us, you want to know what it is that we are doing now that is able to sustain us, in addition to the fact that she's a registered nurse, she has a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing here. And so that is also there. But in the financial services sector, where we are also working, and you want to know what we are doing, book a one-on-one. We will be more than happy to share with you. There are so many things you can do as an immigrant in this country. There are so many things. It's just for you to know where to look, the correct questions to ask, and how to go about it. And those are the things that we want to bring to the table, to share with you, to help you achieve that your American dream that brought you to this country. I know you didn't come here to look at what is it? Disney. No, not just Disney. Well, the one in New York. Oh boy, the Statue of Liberty. You didn't just come here to look at the Statue of Liberty. You came here for a purpose. Whether it's Canada, whether you are in the UK, wherever you are, you came here for a purpose. And you can save yourself so many mistakes, and so that you can cut straight to the chase and begin to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Learn from people like us who have gone through it, so that we share our wealth of experience with you, and then you'll be the better for it at the end of the day. You come back and thank us. Okay? So
if there are no questions, because I don't see any questions here, we're very glad that you were able to join us. And if this program has shed some light and clarified some things, or you know some people that may be in search of a religious visa, or they're even considering it, you may want to share this video with them so that they can also learn from it and have a checklist that they can use, so that this sort of thing will not happen to them. Okay. So I don't know if you have any final things.
So just final thoughts to thank you all for, you could have been somewhere else today, but you chose to come here and spend these moments with us, and we appreciate it deeply. And we thank you very much. We ask that the eternal God will bless you and bless the work of your hands and bless everything that I'm still a pastor at heart. So I cannot end the program without still calling on God to be with you and to direct you and your footsteps. So again, like we said, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us privately. You go to our link. Are you sharing the link here?
No, I think it's already there in the description.
Okay.
You can check in the description.
Okay.
This side of life. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
our sister. Thank you very much. We appreciate
you.
you. Thank you for spending this evening with us.
And we sent you an email. Please look out for it. I don't know if you've seen it.
Okay,
right.
folks. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Since there are no more questions or any shout outs, we wish you all the very best. And we are more than happy. We'll be doing this live from time to time, and we'll let you know. We will begin to go into the main substance of our channel, which is to educate you financially and to show you ways and means to survive in this country
and the
mistakes to avoid, and then how you can, what you can do to get ahead. A lot of you have a lot of those things that you don't know, the hidden talent, the skills, the things you came to this country with that you can put to use. Okay? So, okay.
All right.
Okay, she will check. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. It was good having you all this evening. Thank you for coming.